over the weekend, the possible number one draft picks for both the NBA and NFL are declared ineligible. That's Jason Wiseman for the University of Memphis and Chase Young, the defensive end at Ohio State University. But they're going to let Wiseman play Friday night. They let him play Friday night while they start working on the case. Whatever, they basically cleared him for the night. So you heard about how
they had to do an emergency restraining order, whatever that means.
Yeah, because basically his lawyer is basically the attorneys for the Memphis sports program. They got all that paperwork done for him. Have you heard about why he got suspended? Well, why he's declared ineligible? Well, James Wiseman.
What was the issue for why he got
in 2017, Penny Hardaway moved him closer to Memphis. It helps with AAU practice and stuff like that while he's still in high school. But since Penny Hardaway, who's now the head coach, this has nothing to do with it. But he is an alumni of the University of Memphis, which makes him a booster, basically.
They make him a booster, but so does it make it an isolated situation? Because if he's a booster, how can a booster be? I mean, I don't know the rules, but would it be illegal for a booster to be a head coach?
I mean, I don't know. You don't really see too many. I don't know. You don't really see too many head coaches go back to where they, especially in college, because most college coaches
a lot of them they do. I mean, because you got Juwan Howard, he's back at Michigan.
That's true.
Patrick Ewing is at Georgetown. Chris Bullins went back to St. John's.
But see, a lot of these are newer coaches too, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But a lot of coaches, I'm just saying, a lot of college coaches.
Roy Williams at North Carolina.
That's true. But what I'm saying, most college coaches, once they're there, if they're successful, they don't leave until they're.
Right.
Jim Boeheim is getting ready to walk out the door.
I think the NCAA prefers only they profit off of these players, and I don't even know why players go to college. Honestly, if you don't have to, I wouldn't go. For him to be ineligible, because for Penny to help him move, for AAU practices or whatever.
Because he's from the city of Memphis, so
why was he even allowed to even commit to Memphis then?
Right.
And then it's been a whole off season, and then I remember you go through the clearinghouse and all that. So it's a whole process that leads up to this point. How do you become ineligible the day before the first game?
Right. Second game.
Second game,
right.
Yeah. How? So was somebody not doing their research or? Because I saw that it did say that they went into first he was cleared, then they did some more investigating, and then he wasn't cleared.
It's crazy.
The NCAA is just done really with a lot of this stuff, and I don't understand why. If I was a top level recruit, I wouldn't even necessarily go overseas. I would take the year off. Look at Baisley, what he did. He wasn't even as highly touted as Wiseman. And he took the year off. He still got drafted, and he's actually playing.
Got an endorsement already.
I would advise kids that if you know you can be drafted. I'm not gonna say I would advise nobody not to go to college. You gotta do what you want to do, but I wouldn't deal with the NCAA personally.
Right. And did you hear about why Chase Young is considered? He's been suspended for the next 4 games.
Why was he suspended?
So last year they played in the Rose Bowl, and a friend of the family gave him some money so he could buy his girlfriend a plane ticket out so she could come watch him play in person. And he had already paid the money back. That's he's a friend of the family. Is that really, what does that do for him at that school?
For a plane ticket for his girlfriend, he shouldn't even have to pay the money back. The NCAA, they're a joke, but that's how it is.
Right. How does that help him at Ohio State? That doesn't have anything to do with football or getting in Ohio State.
Right, yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, this is Jon Dubya.
It's Fresh X.
And we are the Hoopers. Had a busy 8 games in for most teams. It's coming on the 3rd weekend of the NBA season. We got some teams falling back into place. Some teams still rising. You got players that stay at a steady level, and some players are evening out.
Yeah, it's still, we haven't even hit 10 games, so... You got the people that fall off at the 5, some fall off at the 10. But after 20, I'd say after 15 to 20 games, you can really tell who. You always get those late surges and then late people that fall off later in the season. But 15 to 20 in,
that's when we
know what we're working with. We're no legitimate.
Right.
I don't really. Other than when I'm talking to X, shout out to X, I don't even really discuss MVPs and stuff like that. But I can discuss it with him because we're on the same kind of page with that.
Right.
We're not prisoners of the moment. type of situations. But 15 to 20 games in, you can
That's
tell.
when everybody's basically in game shape at that point. And
15, 20, you can tell who's all NBA, caliber players. Right. So we'll see then. But the getting in shape by then is a joke to me. And it's funny you bring that up because it was a little thing with James Harden. Not with joke, James Harden and Mike D'Antoni. D'Antoni said that he don't think the Rockets are in shape yet. And so they asked James Harden about it. And he said, well, we don't really practice that much, so that's when people really get in shape. So we use them in the games to get in shape. So that was funny that they was. I looked at it as them kind of going back and forth a little bit, so it was funny. But you should be in shape though. That's what training camp is for. How are you not getting in shape in training camp? You gotta play all summer. So.
That's been the thing with James Harden over the last couple of years. When in the summertime they say he's like the most out of shape, in shape basketball player.
I won't let anybody disrespect James Harden though and say that he's out of shape. He plays 80 games every year.
Consistently. I know the least amount
in shape,
just over the last like 4 or 5 seasons, maybe 6.
Yeah.
The least amount he's played is 72.
Yeah. So and he had to be hurt that year.
But then then of course there's jokers. Everybody gets on him about not being as cut or as lean as most.
Because he's slow, man. You got a body type. Everybody not the Dwight Howard body type. Right. But then you don't got to be a gym warrior to be a great basketball player. Kevin Durant said he doesn't work out. I mean, not that he doesn't work out, but he doesn't lift weights at all.
Right.
He doesn't have to.
I was just
thinking, you really don't have to.
Like I say, when I was just speaking on that, going back to my, saying about 20 games in, a lot of the players will be in the first half of game shape, catching they first, second win right before January, February All-Star break when everybody catches their second win, like I say. Because everybody
20 games, that's going to be by December, so it won't even be All-Star break yet.
Right.
All-Star break is about 40 games. More than half the season's played by All-Star break.
No,
probably 47.
You done got your first win. You done got your first win now, like say 20 games in. But with that being said, Kawhi hasn't played the first game in back-to-backs. All of the last couple back-to-back games.
Well, this week and last week, and then of course he did it all last year.
Right. So the Clippers already been fined $50,000 for inconsistent injury reports.
Well, it was $50,000 because of what Doc said.
Yeah.
And Doc said something because of the question that somebody asked him, which Doc should have known better. I ain't even mad at them getting fined for that because you can't have him on the injury report. He missed a game. And he said, he's feeling great. But I get what they mean.
Right.
And my thing with Kawhi, because I saw that the NBA put out a real descriptive detail of the injury. And Kawhi said he was surprised that they were so detailed. They said that he had an injury to his patella. It's been an ongoing injury. So that was kind of interesting to hear.
Is it like the Tom Brady shoulder thing, where he was always listed on the injury report with a shoulder injury?
I don't know, but if it is a consistent knee injury, I mean, I'm not mad at him not playing back-to-backs. Honestly, I don't even think... It's just funny that they choose to do that on national TV games. And this is why I think they should be fined for it. I got no problem with Kawhi sending out games. And no, I'm not mad at how the NBA scheduled these games either, because at the end of the day, stuff is a business. You have to schedule things in business ways. And they have certain nights when games have to be on TV because that's a part of the TV deal. That's how we all get paid. So playing on back-to-backs and stuff isn't what's the problem. I think that it's a problem for them not to be playing in these national TV games. And if a player can't play tonight and then he can play the next night,
at least play the national TV game.
I think you should be fine unless he's really, it was really like an injury. It's not a load management. Like load management can't have anything to do with it.
Right.
Either you're hurt or you're not hurt. On national TV games, you have to play.
Right.
And that's just period.
Did you see the quote
that's why y'all getting paid. And then he could play, like they say, he playing the first night of back-to-back. They were off 2 nights before that. So you off 2 nights, then you don't play the back-to-back. You could play the back-to-back and then sit out the next game after that. Like, that's what you're paid to do, and you're probably not going to be on TV. They had 2 straight national TV games. He should have played in both of them.
Because both of them was the first games back-to-back. Did you see the quote about why he kind of wants to load manage him?
Why is that? I heard a couple different things.
I seen the quote. Like I said, I just seen the excerpt from it. It was basically saying, he got a son. One day, his son might want to play basketball. He want to be able to still play with him.
Don't care about that. Don't care about that. I don't care about the sentimental. I saw something that said because he's only played more than 70 games twice because he came from the Spurs or whatever.
Right.
So they said that it's reported. I guess it's a rumor out there that he told the Clippers You know, he played 66 games last year, 65 is his number. So it's reported they think that's just what he used to. That's what he think he needs to feel right. But you weren't paid for 65 games. It just depends on how the schedule is. And if we got back-to-back games after being off for 3 straight days, if you're not hurt, he should be on the court playing. And I don't think it should be a debate about it. And if he don't play, I'll fine the team $500,000 every time. Oof. $500,000, big fines. So these are
TV games. No, I understand what you. That's just a big number. I get what you mean.
Because people, I'm gonna get to the business side of it because it gets overlooked. Because we love the game, we love to see people play, and we want them to play forever. You want people to be healthy, but they make the money they make for a reason. That TV deal that they signed with ESPN and Turner was for $2.2 billion, I believe. Like, that's why y'all get paid, and it's literally that simple.
The finals I guess when you first hit a number, I thought it's just a big number. It's understandable.
Yeah, 500,000 per. If you're missing games because of low management,
definitely. I get your point.
It's 500,000. And the NBA said they cleared them because they said it was a patella injury. I hear you, cool, but after 3 days off, he should have played that game, and then all right. You can't play back-to-backs, then okay, you missed the second one because we know you played last night.
Just
so
play on national TV.
Right.
Just play
they both were national TV games
that he missed. Yeah.
One was TNT, one was ESPN. But the reason y'all get paid, you can sign $146 million deals because you signed a $2.2 billion TV deal, and then you get $10 million a year for the advertisement that's on your jersey. Like, let's not act like that's not an important factor. And people try to make businesses, because I'm a person that's for people and for working, period. And I think some companies overwork people and they get shitty pay. I mean, we don't make the money that they make, and I guarantee you, I mean, I know they got to train and all that, but we work harder than them, and we don't make half the money they make. And so people will abuse that labor. Y'all are getting paid to play basketball, to train, to be in shape, and the money you're making is tied to those TV games. So I get it. I don't want to play all 82. The games you miss should be games that are not on TV because those aren't directly tied to your salary. That's the one where, all right, the maybe some fans are pissed off about it. I get it, but what's tied to your money? I mean, the tickets matter also because you need people buying them tickets. But that TV deal is what changed the game. That's why the average salary of an NBA player by 2025 is going to be $10 million. The vet minimum is going to be $10 million. People sign vet minimums for $5 million nowadays. Like, who in the NBA is making less than $3 million now? $2.5 million. That's where the money come in at. And so, no, it's not about you playing every game, and even though it should be, because that's a part of being the best too.
Wild little fist, as you like to call it.
It's a part of it, but it's not even about we're gonna play him until he's dead out there.
Right.
But it's like some of these games y'all gonna be blowing people out, so you can load manage by playing him 25 minutes this night because we up.
And
20.
then that's what Golden State early on in their runs. That's what they figured out. They didn't play 4 quarters.
They didn't play 4 quarters.
That was like, of course they are gonna sit out some back-to-backs, but we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna be good enough to where we can only play 3.5 quarters.
But they're not playing 4 quarters. They're cutting practice. Right. You played 35 minutes, which is a lot of minutes nowadays. You played 35 minutes last night, you don't got to practice today. Just come get treatment, and if you want to shoot around, cool. Right. No practice. It's like it's other ways to load manage. Missing games like that's just too far in my opinion, unless you're legitimately hurt. And I don't care, not that I don't care, but it's not about the length of your career. It's not about missing game 1 so you can be fresh for game 101. And yeah, it is about winning the championship, but you also are making money, and that's tied to it. So if you could play, you should be able to play. And it's on you to extend your career. It's on them to help you extend your career, but that's all for the court. That's getting treatment. That's eating right. Some of these dudes do load management, and they don't even, they eat whatever. Like, so you got to be training, you got to be playing, and that's just what it is.
And just to the next note, semi-history was made last night.
But about the loads management, I'm going to call out LeBron real quick because he said he tried to say that he wouldn't do loads management. Like, come on, bro. Every time I want a story, Kawhi's the hot guy right now, so that focusing on him. But let's not act like we wasn't talking about this with LeBron a few years ago.
Right, you're right.
Like, it's not new. This isn't new either. So it's just
because that was the whole thing
it's
with the Cavs whenever LeBron wasn't on the court,
right?
Including games where he did play. They didn't have a good record.
He took a break in the middle of his first season there because he had a hectic offseason because he decided to leave teams. Like, come on, bro.
But anyway, semi-history was made last night. Do you know what it was?
In the NBA?
Yeah.
No, what was that?
2 players scored 50-plus points last night on the same night.
I figured there had to be some kind of history.
Do you know who did it?
Yeah, I do actually, because I was scrolling through Instagram and then I looked up and I said, "Whoa, D'Angelo Russell, 52." 2 posts later, Dame Lillard had 60. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't 50, but Andrew Wiggins actually had 40 last night.
But do you know who the last 2 players that did that on the same night? 50 points.
50.
It was December 23rd, 2005.
2005.
When I tell you the names, I can't tell you the teams.
Yeah,
I tell you the teams, you're gonna get away. You're gonna know it. But when I tell you who it is, because you're not gonna guess who it is, you're gonna be upset at yourself.
All right, who is it? Because I don't even know.
Allen Iverson and Vince Carter.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it in the playoffs?
December 23rd,
December 23rd, right? That's not the playoffs.
No, that's just a game. It's not even a Christmas game.
They both had 50.
Yeah,
that's not surprising, though, because Iverson and Vince Carter weirdly always had them scoring duels like that. We all know the famous playoff game. I think Vince had, 45? Iverson had 48.
Yeah.
Game 7. So they always had some duels.
Right.
Vince don't get enough respect, so he play for the Hawks right now. He'll be in the Hall of Fame one day.
But yeah, I thought that was crazy and both those were losses.
I would say, yeah, they both lose also. They both
like
scored 50.
Portland scored 119. Dame had 60 other points. Like, nobody showed up. Hassan Whiteside, me as a resident Portland fan here, I'm very disappointed. He's playing lazy right now. He picked it up in the second half of the last game.
He said he can't be playing lazy because he averaging a double-double.
He's playing terrible.
He's
not giving us nothing. And
Whiteside, you averaging a double-double in your sleep, bro. 11 rebounds, you playing lazy.
Right. Drummond's averaging 18 just compared to that.
But he should be there. He should be 15 a game.
But that's besides the point. He's not even giving us offense for real. Like,
yeah.
And it's just to the point where, like, with Zach Collins hurt, Scalabrese went out last night. I never pronounced his last name.
I think it was Labissiere.
Labissiere, you're right. Scal went out last night. Pau Gasol is out.
Nurkic, Pau even played.
Exactly. He hasn't played all year. Nurkic isn't back till February.
Yeah, Portland is 3-6 right now. So that sounds like 3-6.
Like, our front court is getting thinner and thinner every day. We just called 2 D-League players up. But I will say this: Anthony Simons, is playing.
I thought
great.
It was Simmons until I heard it the other day.
Is playing great right now. Like, he hit the game-winning shot against Philly.
Right.
Until Kirk Moss hit the game with a shot right after that. But yeah, Portland's at 3-6. And like I said, they're just in a weird place because of so many injuries.
And this will be a year for Whiteside to step up though and do more though. Like he is being pedestrian when they could need him. Like I said, he's averaging a double with 14, 13. Like you could be doing a little more.
It's not impactful because like Nurk only averaged like 16 and 9, 16 and 11 last year, but it was impactful 16 because his 16 mattered. Your 14 points aren't mattering right now,
right?
And that's the problem.
Like he had 10 and 15 in the last game against Brooklyn. So, I mean,
like I said, it's 9 games in. Maybe he pick it up sooner or later.
What was the thing about Hassan Whiteside? Because I know he probably said that you can't average a double and be lazy because he's probably frustrated with that tag. But it's like, bro, it has been following you for the past couple of years that you play lazy, and that's not that you're lazy. Maybe not all the time. Maybe you do show up, and that's why he can get his stats. Yeah, he can be irrelevant in a game for a long time. He can be really unimpactful, right. And that's the main reason why he stopped playing with Miami. He can get unmotivated real quick, and he doesn't want to admit that. And I feel like that's been a downfall in his career. That's probably why he almost was out the league. So you would think he'd be more appreciative.
At one point.
I mean, yeah, but he was able to make a comeback, so I gave him his respect.
You're right.
But it was like he was finna to be irrelevant. He went to the G League and he was finna to be done, and then he popped up and hooped and got $100 million deal.
He's on a contract here this year.
After this deal, you're gonna be out the league.
Right. But just stick with former Miami Heat players real quick. Dion Waiters. Not to make light of the situation.
It's reported that it was Dion Waiters.
Reportedly Dion Waiters of the Miami Heat not overdose, excuse me, but took too many gummies.
Right, overdose on gummies. What is that?
Right. Not he didn't overdose, but he had one too many gummy edibles. And he had seizures on the plane.
Well, they said he had a seizure when he woke up.
He had a seizure when he woke up.
Yeah,
so
when they finally got him to wake up, he had a seizure.
And then, like, before that, he had already was complaining about, like, an upset stomach or something, which is why he didn't play. Like, he was already finna miss the game.
He's been having an upset season period with the Heat. You know, he started off in the it really started last year when he came back. Cause you know he was getting he started getting his minutes. He's finally making a name. I guess he always is making a name for himself, but he finally, the Heat went on that crazy run with him,
and he was a part of that.
Then he got hurt, and he was out of it. And then he came back last year, and he kind of, he was upset about his minutes. Then he had a thing over in the preseason where he was mad about his minutes. They suspended him the first game of the year. Right. He took a shot at Spoelstra on Instagram, said that, shit, I could win too with LeBron and Wade plus Bosh.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said, I could win too with LeBron, Wade plus Bosh. I would win too. Right. So he's clearly just been... It's just been a matter of when...
Antonio Brown in the NBA. Antonio Brown with a guaranteed contract.
It's just been a matter of when he was... excuse me, going to get traded from the Heat.
Right.
Because they're clearly going to get rid of him. But I just don't understand, like, was this his first time taking these? Or
I don't know.
How you end up in this situation, and then especially before
Allegedly.
A game, and it's just... Like, we're not going to act like players don't do this, but it's just
don't you gotta know,
right? It's definitely a bad look, and I don't think they probably want to bring him back this year.
Yeah, that's probably his last playing trip with Miami Heat for the season.
Yeah. And make sure he's good, and then they're going to get rid of him.
Right. But also, just to stay on the Miami Heat again, they played the Los Angeles Lakers last night.
Right.
They lost 95-80. And this is the game right after Jimmy Butler had 30 in the first half, the first Miami Heat player to do that. How do you score 80 points in 2019?
Because Miami doesn't have any offense for real. Miami is a team, to me, that's like the Atlanta Hawks, but kind of in a different way. Miami's going to have nights where they look like they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the East. Tyler Hero's going to look like Rookie of the Year.
Jimmy Butler's
going to look like MVP.
Nunn's also looking like Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and Jimmy Butler's going to look like the MVP. But overall, Miami's a really pedestrian team. They really don't have any scoring for real.
They're tough and they play hard.
They don't have shooting. They just have culture and they have solid players.
Right.
But, like, to the game last night, Jimmy Butler had 22. Nunn had 10. Because at the end of the day, even though he was second in college in scoring, he's still a rookie, and now people are going to key in on him. It's a reason. I mean, he clearly has game,
right.
And people do get overlooked. But There's a reason that he was in the position that he was in. No disrespect. But it's kind of showing because his scoring is just dropping more and more. People keying in on him. But Jimmy had 22. Dragic had 19. We know we can depend on them. The next players is Bam with 11. Nunn had 10. Hero had 7. That's it. Robinson had 3. Olynyk had 8.
Is Justin Winslow back yet?
I don't believe. No, he's not. He didn't play.
And I think that also plays a part into it. He's supposed to be a star point guard. Has he played a game yet this year?
Who, Winslow?
Yeah.
I think he has played.
I think Kendrick Nunn's been their starting point guard for most of the year.
Right, he was starting at the shoot. He was starting at the 2.
Winslow has played. Okay,
but just like the Hawks, because the Hawks are gonna have nights where they look like a playoff team, then they gonna have nights where they look like a lottery team. And the Heat have nights where they look like, dang, the Heat are pretty good, and there's gonna be nights where they like, yeah, they just alright.
And speaking on the Atlanta Hawks, real quick, this happened earlier in the week, but John Collins has also been given slapped with a 25-game suspension.
25 gamers in one season.
Beginning of the
season.
First 10 games of the season.
Right.
And I think John Collins being out messes with their rotations.
Definitely does.
Messes with, Trey had 31-12 in the loss last night.
Yeah.
Lloyd Pierce was speaking on about Jabari, specifically saying, Jabari is a walking, he's a walking bucket. He can wake up, he can get 18 points in his sleep.
That was after the Bulls game when they got destroyed by the Bulls.
So it's like, the talent is there, but Trey Young already doesn't have a dependable backup point guard at this point.
Trey is also, I think, because he started off the year so hot and he was making a lot of threes. I've noticed the last few games, especially since he was hurt, he's fallen into what he started to the year before, where he was shooting in his first year, was last year, he was shooting 10 threes a game and he's making 2 or 3. I'd rather Trey shoot 6 and make 3 than shoot 10 and make 3.
Right.
Because he was 3 for 10 last night. I believe he was 2 for 10 the night before. Like, you can't fall into you got to take better shots when it's not falling. But he still had 30 points, which shows that he was.
He had 30 or 12.
Which shows he was, but And maybe it's asking too much of him, but you do have to lead this team differently, especially without John Collins. So it is numbers that you're missing. So it definitely wasn't Trey fault.
No, yeah.
At all.
No. I'm not blaming Trey. Like I said, I'm just saying, right now with John Collins out and Jabari being, their best bench scorer at this point,
he's forced to start now.
He's forced to start. Trey Young doesn't really have a dependable backup
at all. Who is his backup?
I don't even know. I think Ben Reed comes in and play a lot of backup. Play initiator, but Kevin Hoyter is still at the 2. I don't know who his backup point guard is at this point. I'm pretty sure it's somebody, but he doesn't have.
I guess it's Bembry.
But he doesn't have a dependable one right now, and that also messes with the offense.
Right, and that just shows about the Hawks, being a young team. But back to John.
It's supposed to be Cam Reddish.
Yeah. Back to John Collins suspension. What's going on with the players in the early suspensions this year? His was for a human growth hormone or something like that. So I don't know.
Probably was also something to get weed out of the system.
Right.
I'm not saying he smoked weed, but that's probably what it was for.
You guys are too rich to be making these broke niggas mistakes. Excuse my language for the people who don't understand. Well, not excuse my language, but these broke people mistakes, man. Y'all know how to. Y'all have the money to have the access to if you smoke weed. Because it's not like they're the only players that's doing it. So I'm not even going to act like they're the only player that's doing it. And crucify them for smoking weed. I'm going to crucify them for being sloppy with getting it out their system. Because, if clearly it's still a rule for it, that's why you're trying to get it out your system.
With the DeAndre Ayton, when he got suspended, they listed all the other players that had been suspended for been caught the same thing in the system. It was, I know Joakim Noah was one of the players on the list.
No, he smoked weed.
Right, but this is clearly a thing. It's the rule of the NBA regardless of how you feel about it. I know Larry Sanders a couple years ago from VCU got drafted by Milwaukee Bucks. He was a productive player in the NBA, good shot blocker, rim runner, rebounder. His whole thing, he didn't. It was almost like Ricky Williams, where he didn't throw away his career to smoke weed, but he would rather smoke because he also had he said he had bad anxiety or something. Right. So that helped him out.
He also was at a place where he was good with walking away. He needed
that is also true.
Y'all, just like I just said, y'all too rich to be making these mistakes. Get the stuff out your system the correct way, or just don't do it.
They're gonna at some point they go random drug test you just cause.
What the thing is, it's random, but ask any player that in the NBA or that's played in the NBA, when you're gonna get tested. Right. So, be smart.
How you feeling about Porzingis and Luka Doncic? Like I say, it's only still 10 games in the season, barely. Luka's the youngest player to go back to back with 25-point triple doubles.
Right, they doing really great right now. Honestly, Luka's averaging 26, 9-9 on the season. Porzingis is at about 19-9. Dallas is in this, they're 5-3, so it's like 8 teams in the West that's 5-3 right now, so they're all tied for 4th. Right. Unless you get into the mathematics and the numbers, but I'm not doing all that. I'm just getting to the record. They're all 5-3 or 6-3, so they're pretty much the same. But so they really look good, and Luka is honestly, I guess it's just far fetched to say, because he is such a young player. Right. But if Dallas continues winning and he continues to average 26, 9-9, he's going to Derrick Rose you guys and become the youngest MVP in NBA history. Because if Dallas finishes at top 4, unless the Lakers win 60 and LeBron continues to average 26, 11, and 8, I'm giving Luka the MVP. I'm giving it to LeBron right now because they're 7-1, right. And LeBron. He was averaging, which I'm not giving nobody MVP right now. It's 8 damn games. But we having a conversation just for fun.
Right. But if you can project that he gonna stay at these numbers
I
all
can project that Luka's gonna at least be 26, 8, and 8.
But let's say he does stay 26, 9-9, 20. Let's say he gets to 27, 10, and 8.
Because he really honestly was 26, 10, 27, 10, and he had a couple.
Right.
But I can't say
Dallas gets 5th place.
If Dallas finishes top 4 and Luka's stat stays the same,
Lakers go 63 wins, LeBron goes 26.
63 wins, I'm giving LeBron.
You giving LeBron regardless of what Luka does.
Yeah, unless he averages a triple-double and they finish top 4. But if the Lakers finish first and LeBron averages numbers, but it's not a 60-win season, and Dallas finishes top 4 and Luka averages 26, 10, and 9, 26, 9, and 9, I'm voting Luka MVP. But I don't think nobody else will. LeBron would win that MVP. But Dallas is a team that they're coached well. They know who they are as a young team, which is scary. That's OKC scary because they knew who they were. It just was a matter of getting more experience.
Right.
So Dallas knows Luka, Porzingis, their role players know their role with DeLon Wright and Seth Curry, Jalen Brunson.
Dwight Powell's back.
They know get the ball to Luka and Porzingis. They know play defense. They know pass the ball. They got a championship coach. Well. Dallas is scared. They're not going to the finals this year. Of course not. Obviously not.
They can ruin somebody's chance to go into the playoffs.
Dallas. They're definitely gonna, I won't even say that light of them. Dallas can put somebody out in the first round. They can make the second round, and in a year or so, Dallas could be talking finals. And
isn't that just because how Luka plays in the important parts of the game? He plays well throughout games, and he has some of those games where he's kind of first 3 quarters, he's kind of in and out of it.
Right.
But it seems like it's no matter that if they're close enough in the last 5 minutes, he gets it done, whether it's scoring or making plays. Because I think Luka's. At this stage in his career, he's a top 5 playmaker, like scoring or passing.
Right. Overall, I think last year maybe especially when the team was built differently, so they weren't built to really respect. Even because thinking back to Luka's rookie year, Dirk was saying in training camp then, Luka's the best player on the court. That's what he was saying then in training camp. But it still came into the year. Dennis Smith is one of the future players. DeAndre Jordan. Even though he's not a go-to player, he's a respected player. So people weren't really looking at Luka as the leader. That's why they got rid of everybody. They traded everybody in their starting lineup last year. Nobody kind of acknowledges that. Harrison Barnes got traded, Dennis Smith got traded, DeAndre Jordan got traded, and Wesley Matthews got traded. They traded everybody in their starting lineup. And they decided right then, especially with getting Porzingis, to build a team around Luka and Porzingis. So it's respected as them 2 young dudes, year 2 and year 4, are the best player on this team, and they're the leaders of this team. So, and with Porzingis, you can see those are the moments where Luka can take a step back to pass the ball and just kind of, because he don't mind being on the court either. Right. Luka set picks, he cuts, and all that stuff. And then they also know to give him the ball. But he showed the poise last year that he's a fourth quarter player, and I think he's top 4 in scoring this year in the fourth quarter, top 4 or 5. I believe he is. I have to pull up the stat, but when you got that poise, it's just different, and that's why OKC was able to go to the finals with KD them so young, because we saw it was just a matter of them playing. It's just a matter of them getting in the playoffs, lose one time, make it to the second round. Now in the conference finals, they went from not making the playoffs, swept in the first round. Did they make it second round?
I think they
went from not making it, swept first round, second round to the finals. They didn't even go. Once they hit conference finals, we already knew what we doing, and nobody gets hurt. Dallas is they going that way because Luka, like you said, he is a top 5 playmaker, and he honestly. We ain't gonna be able to say it to the end of the year, but he's one of the top 10 players, or I'm gonna say it safe for people. He's one of the top 10 talents in the NBA. I'm gonna say it the safe way, but it's not 10 people I'm taking over Luka in the NBA right now. I honestly believe that.
See Giannis, first fastest player to 200 points, 100 rebounds, 500 assists.
Really? That's surprising. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's fast as he got it against the Clippers. I thought it was crazy because everything is half of each other.
I like Giannis as a player, but unpopular opinion. It's not that I don't think he's that great. I don't think he's even in contention for the best player in the NBA. I'm not really that amazed by what he does. I know he's gonna score which I give him credit for carrying his load, but. You know, Giannis made 2 threes one night, and now he's improved his jump shot, and then he still shoots 15% 3 for the season. I feel like he's the player, like what we've seen of him is what he's going to be. He's just going to dunk on people more. He's going to get more.
He's just going to do it better every year.
Right. He's going to get better at dunking. He's going to get – he's dribbling better. Right. You know, I give him that. But I think he is in his prime, so he can put his wheel on people. He's a player. He's a hooper. Giannis he's 24. So
I don't think he's in his prime.
He's entering his prime, but you know, he's a 27% 3-point shooter this year. And people say, "Oh, that's improved." He's 27% for his career. So I mean, he's shooting.
He's steady.
He's right.
He's steady.
I don't
really think Giannis. I think he needs to be able to knock down shots down there. I think Giannis more needs a good fadeaway, good post-up shot, jump shot, something mid-range.
I feel exactly the same. Like, it's okay with him handling the ball, but let's stop treating Giannis like a guard. He's not a guard. He's not a 3. Let's let him cut. Let's let him play on the post.
He's not a stretch 4.
Right. But
he's not a traditional 4.
Right.
But he's a 4. He's a souped-up, almost Chris Webber-ish, where Chris Webber could handle the ball like Chris Webber did.
If you let Chris Webber handle the ball more, he would have been Giannis.
Yeah. Not as tall. Not as athletic. But he was a better passer, better ball, better.
Who's better passer?
Chris Webber.
I thought you said Giannis was a better passer. I'm about to say
I think what Giannis has in physical attributes, Chris Webber has in skill.
Right. And then it's a different time because with the ball in his hands so much, he's obviously going to score way more. Chris Webber thought to pass the ball more, and he was on better teams. Well, I mean, Giannis is on a good team.
The talent was spread around more. Like Vlade could do stuff with it. Mike Bibby, Jason Williams, Bobby Jackson off the bench.
But I like Giannis. I just don't love him. I'm not in love with him or his game. But he's averaging 29-14, and the Bucks are 6-3. I expect him to be top 4. I expect him to be in MVP conversation because he's going to average his numbers. But don't tell me that he's shooting better. He's shooting what he always shoot. Don't tell me that he's averaging 2 more points. So. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying
they lost Brogdon, so that's more.
Shout out to Malcolm Brogdon as well. I want to switch to him. His averaging last time I saw it was 22-9-6.
That sounds about right.
And he was almost 90-50-40 again, which would have been for a second straight season.
It's only he's almost 90-50-40 for his career.
And this is only fifth year in the league,
right? The only other player I can say that for is Kevin Durant. That's almost 90-50-40 for their career. So. That shows you how.
Like every year he didn't look like a 20-point per game scorer early on in his career, but in Indiana with Victor Oladipo being out, he's really been their best offensive perimeter player. Especially they don't have
21-9,
21-9,
45 on the year, 97 from the free throw line. He must actually just had a terrible game because his 3-point percentage just fell really badly. So he clearly just had a really bad game. But
you think if Indiana can pick up some wins, he can too early All-Star pick?
No, especially not if they're if they're winning. If they're winning,
I think winning always factors into it.
21-9 will get him in an All-Star game if they're in the playoffs. So yeah, for sure.
Because he would definitely get a coach's pick. Because he's not. I don't think he would be a fan favorite for All-Star. But
that wouldn't even be a pity pick. People
not just a coach pick.
People disrespect these All-Star. Like I saw somebody say that. I really wish I knew who it was because I don't want to just say I saw somebody say I want to call him out actually, but they said that D'Angelo Russell was only an All-Star because he was in the East. If it don't matter where you are, if you're averaging 21 points and your team's in the top 6, you're gonna be in the playoffs. Yeah. So sometimes you can't disrespect players that are putting up All-Star numbers. And Brogdon, he's putting up All-Star numbers. So 7 games in.
But, all right, so it's way too early.
He definitely can keep that production up because he is about 16 for his career. 13 for his career. Sorry, but he averaged about 16 or 17 last year.
Like I say, his first couple of years, he wasn't really out there. He was more of a defender than scorer.
Right, but he averaged 16 last year, and that was with Giannis and Middleton on the team. So he was at best, third in shots. And on this team, without Depot,
Miles Turner's out.
Right, he's their go-to player offensively. So shout out to Brogdon. He's way too early most improved conversation right now. He's in the top 3.
He's also from
players.
The metropolitan area of Atlanta, Georgia, so he always gonna get a shout out for that as well.
Yeah, that's what's up. Malcolm Brogdon.
Shout out to Malcolm Brogdon.
I can't wait to Depot come back because them two defensively and just as a team, they should be pretty good.
They should be. And then Miles Turner has to come back at some point as well.
Yeah, he led the league in blocks last year, so they can use Miles. Right. Miles has been disappointing, but he's an NBA player though. He's productive. They need him.
I think it's just a confidence thing with him sometimes. Sometimes he just don't want to take shots.
I've seen Miles, and I say that because I've seen him work out and just play pick up and overruns.
Oh yeah, he goes crazy, right?
He can handle the ball. He can shoot. Decent post game where you can pass on the ball. Obviously, he's no Shaq or Embiid, but you could pass on the ball and he got a good face-up game, and then he get in the NBA and he just be on the court.
That happens to a lot of players.
Right.
Your 76ers were the last undefeated team in the NBA, and after that they get 2 straight losses.
They lost last night.
Oh, they made 3 straight?
Yeah, 3 straight.
The buzzer beater to get Jokic with the buzzer beater.
Jokic buzzer beater. I forgot that 3 losses. Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix. I'll say it was one out Phoenix.
And then it was one more in there. They lost, but I can't remember who it is right now. But they were the last undefeated team at 5-0, and then Embiid got his suspension.
They won one of those games.
Ben actually didn't play last night, so that's why that kind of holds weight to me that he didn't play because that matters.
And who's their backup point guard? Was it
Neto started.
Neto started, so Trey Burke came off the bench.
They lost to the Jazz last night by 2. That's what it was.
So
they lost to the Nuggets on Friday. I mean, they lost to the Jazz on Wednesday. Excuse me. But the Suns game. No, the Jazz game was a game that Ben got hurt, so they were leading in that game. He only played 10 minutes. Then so now you don't got Ben. It's Embiid first game back. So I get it. You lose by 2 points. That's a good game. Then you lost to the Nuggets on the buzzer beater. So no real red marks to be worried about. You lost 3 straight, especially as long as Ben is healthy. Right. They'll be okay. Right. But I think they'll get back on track. And they should definitely win their next game. They got the Hornets, so
yeah, that should be a win regardless of who's the starting point guard.
The
Hornets have been better this year though.
Hornets, Cavs, Magic, Thunder.
That's a
Cavs again. Knicks sound like a 6-game winning streak to me.
at least four and 2. Speaking of buzzer beaters, there was also a buzzer beater in Utah.
Oh yeah.
Big brother Bogey hit a buzzer beater to hit the game winner last night as well. So we had 2 50-point games and 2 buzzer beaters.
Right, early NBA action. So that's good to see people.
And it was also 2 40-point games with Pascal going for 44.
Yeah, Pascal did have 44 last night.
Pascal, he had 44 and 12, I think.
Right, that sounds about right.
And then
he was hooping early this year, 27 a game for Pascal. So early All-Star considerations for him.
Andrew Wiggins also had 40 points in the win versus D'Angelo Russell and the Warriors.
Former Maple Jordan.
Former Maple Jordan. Oh, where you at on Andrew Wiggins? I know you could be critical of him. I know you don't love him, but you know he can hoop.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins, he got some game. He luckily for him, he plays with Cat, so he's not the go-to player. They just need another player that's also like Wiggins could be their second scorer. Maybe they had a great point guard because Wiggins as Jalen Rose called him, he is a floater. He
a great point guard to keep him engaged in the game, right?
Right. So then that way he don't got to handle the ball. You can make him cut and stuff. They should actually try and trade for Chris Paul maybe. Chris Paul would look good in Minnesota. I don't know if he wants to go there, but
probably not. I don't think he wants to go anywhere that's cold.
He's in OKC, so it gets cold there.
So I'm pretty sure it gets kind of cold. But
either way, he look good with their team. But Wiggins, they've already paid him. I'm interested to see what happens when his next contract comes up. Because I don't think he's a building block. He could be a good piece to your team. But
like I say, with Cat clearly being their best player and their leading scorer, like say they get a great point guard, a great point guard, a distributor. He could fill in that second scorer role because, like I say, now you can keep him more engaged with back cuts and lobs and figure out ways to get him in some one-on-ones in the post and on the wing and mismatches.
Yeah, Wiggins though, but I didn't even love Wiggins. I remember him when he was highly touted coming out of high school, and I just never loved his game. I always just thought he was an athlete. People sold him as maybe he could be a great defender. Anytime you got to tell me that somebody can be a great defender and they aren't, they're probably never going to become a great defender. It never works out when you tell me that these people have defensive potential, because that means that it's not that they can't play defense, it's that they don't want to. And people that don't want to play defense don't play defense. It's really as simple as that. So, but I mean, he's having a good season. He's averaging 24 so far, 24.6 actually, shooting 46 from the field. His free throws could be a little better, with like 0.5 steals a game, 2.9 assists. His stats are really kind of irrelevant to me. But he can go off 40 last game, 30 the game before that. So he clearly can score, but he also can be irrelevant. That's why he averaged 16 points last year. So
shout out to Andrew Wiggins for the 40-pointer last night.
And what sucks is they actually, if he played to his potential, because the potential is there, and people like Kobe have even talked highly of him. The potential is there for him to be so great that with Cat, I mean, they could be a problem in the West. That's a duo that people should talk about when they talk about duos.
The big and the wing, yeah, that's always gonna be a problem.
But Wiggins, nobody believes in him anymore. So, but what he care what I gotta say?
Ryu Hukumura, I hope I pronounced his name right. He was the other night. He became the fastest Wizard player to get to 100 points in games played. I think it was after their 5th or 6th game.
Probably not that hard though.
Probably not. It was the fastest since John Wall actually. He broke John Wall's
semi-record. So. Had to be John Wall.
John Wall's semi-record. John Morant has picked it up since that Brooklyn Nets game. He's averaging 20 and 5 right now in the season.
Right, yeah. John, he's been playing kind of steady this whole year. He's been playing solid.
Yeah.
I like what he's been doing so far. He's my favorite rookie so far.
And he's exciting, right? Like not even just like he's just an exciting player to watch. Like
yeah, he seems like I knew that Ja was gonna be good in the NBA watching him last year because you already got your doubts about the mid-majors, but you got your doubts about college players. Period, honestly. But you can just watch how certain people play. It was like I always give people this comparison, or when I talk about the first time I saw Eric Gordon play, and they don't play the same at all. But I remember the first time I saw him play, they played against Mike Conley and Greg Oden. And Eric Gordon just had a terrible game. Like, he couldn't make no shots. It just, nothing was falling for him.
I remember that game.
Right. But you could just tell the way that he played and the shots. Because it wasn't like people was making him miss the shots. He just was missing.
What, the next game he came out like...
He had like 60 the next game.
Yeah, right.
You could just tell by the way that he played, though, that like, y'all, he's just off tonight. Like, y'all are really lucky. He really got game. So you, watching Ja play, and not that Ja had any bad games, you could just tell how he played that. His game would translate anywhere. He's a basketball player. He could play on any team, especially as the point guard and you putting the ball in his hands. I thought he would be averaging a little bit more assists, so I'm kind of surprised at that. But I know trying to find your way, he's probably trying to figure out, his niche in the NBA. So he's trying to figure out, where he can get his points set. And then they need him to score for this team.
It's like him, Jaren Jackson.
Right. Jaren Jackson, I don't love Jaren Jackson. He's really inconsistent. He was inconsistent in college. He shows his flashes.
He was one of those players that was definitely more potential than product at the point because he didn't start in college
at all. Right. So, but they're definitely a good talent, and he's showing his potential in the NBA. But so it's good that they have each other. But Ja, when I watched him, I was just like, dang, yeah, his game is going to translate. He's going to be good anywhere. Just because the moves he made, the shots he took, players that can play, that look like they can play in a system, but you can tell they still playing their game. Because that's a coachable player that can hoop. When somebody can play in a system, but then you still see them playing their game, that's when you're like, oh, yeah, he can play. Because he don't need the ball to be forcing his hands, and he got to make every play, and he got to be ISO. It's like he's not even going ISO. He's passing the ball. He's cutting.
Right. He get heads in the forward offense.
Exactly. That's a player that really could play. And he was that kind of player. And he did have high isolation and stuff, but the ball was in his hands a lot. But,
he's their best player, Murray.
Right. But he looked like Trey Young to me, too. Not how they play, but just how Trey, you saw Trey play in college, like, oh, yeah. No matter what, he's gonna be able to pass the ball, and
he had full control. And he had full control of the game.
Exactly, like he's playing at his own pace, and that's just like a matter of getting comfortable and figuring out where my spots are in the NBA. And Ja's definitely playing at his pace in the NBA, so he's gonna be Rookie of the Year this year.
That's your way too early Rookie of the Year pick. Any other rookies you looking at?
Yeah, I think I had him coming into the season as Rookie of the Year. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I did though. I like Ja, so I definitely had him. Shout out to South Carolina, because nobody from South Carolina ever comes out anywhere. South Carolina's eating this year. We just need Zion. Well, not we, because I'm not from there. They just need Zion to step up and hoop.
They are next state over cousin.
Right. But I've been watching none this year. Back to the other rookies, I've been keeping up with his stats. He's kind of cooled off recently.
Right.
But he definitely shocked some people to start the year. So shout out to him. He
pushed to 100 points in Miami Heat history.
It's not surprising that he was good at scoring though, because in college he was second in scoring to Trae Young. They were top 2 in the NCAA in scoring. So scoring is what he do. And I'm trying to think. I've been keeping up with Matisse Thybulle. He's like. He leads the NBA in steals, I believe. So
the NBA, I say he was leading the rookies in steals.
I believe he leads the NBA in steals.
And that's rookie. I seen that it was a preseason. I know it's just preseason, but it was like he had like 5 blocks and some crazy. It was like something crazy.
Right. They something that was said about him coming into the year was that not only was he a good defensive player, but he was like a defensive playmaker type of player, meaning he was gonna make big plays on defense. So
that's always a good compliment to get.
Right. So
especially as a young player coming out of college.
Right. For people to already know, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be good defensively.
So now there's gonna be games with him, and he's still at the point in the season where he still.
Yep. So he's actually top 5. Sorry about that. I thought he led the NBA, but he's top 5.
He's still in the rotation because he's playing good defense. So everything else is gonna come to him. So I like when rookies play early in the season,
right?
Because you can figure, which rookies are gonna play all season. Which rookies is just playing now.
He's definitely going to play all year.
Yeah, he's definitely, because they're going to have him, and it's going to be games. And I think because of what happened with Kawhi,
he's actually the starter when Joel was out. He was the starter.
Yeah, because they need more. They need, if somebody, that was bad defensively by Ben and Joel, who are good defensive players. But I think they need somebody who's going to always concentrate at least on defense.
Right.
And then, say you throw them out there with Ben and Joel and some lineups with.
He's a better version of Robert Covington. A lot of people like Robert Covington. Yeah. The stats like Robert Covington, but Robert Covington didn't show up.
He get cooks a lot.
Right. And he just didn't show up enough for me. So,
right.
But he I guess he does feel that void of that, because Robert Covington was a player that played big minutes for Philly, so I will put some respect on his name. He was an important piece to that team while he was there, which is why it mattered when he didn't show up.
Right.
But as a player that's going to shoot threes and then play high-level defense, and he's already one of the top 10 wing defenders in the NBA. So, but 7 games in, but defense translates. Right. That's something that translates.
Right. You can always play defense.
He's a hooper.
How you feel about the Celtics right now? I know Kemba's averaging 24.
Right.
Gordon Hayward is everybody's way too early All-Star.
Yeah, they love Gordon again.
Like he was hurt. Like he was coming off a major injury.
Yeah, Boston is they're 6-1, so they
haven't lost since they lost to Philly.
Right. Yeah, that's their only loss so far. So Boston has been playing, which
it's
surprising to me.
And I know Jaylen Brown is out right now.
Yeah, he's out. No, he's playing tonight. He played
tonight. He back tonight.
Because Boston's actually playing right now. As we're on here right now, guys. Boston is playing. But Boston, when I saw that they were 6-1, it was actually surprising to me because I've seen some of their games and watched some of their stats, and they've had like some ugly wins. I think they're winning. They're trying to figure their team out.
I think Boston's still at that point where they do have a lot of talent, where some of that talent can get them out some jams. Like Jason Tatum hit the game winner against New York.
Right.
Like say Kemba's averaging 24.
They got 3 players averaging 20 points
He was crossing Giannis all over the court the other night when they played Milwaukee, I should say. So Gordon Hayward's been playing great lately. So they got I think talent is carrying them right now.
But Boston, they
still haven't even gotten Romeo Langford back yet.
Do we expect Romeo to play this year? And Romeo's my favorite rookie.
I think shooters can always, like defensive players, I think shooters can always get their way onto the court.
And I don't think he's really a shooter, though. He's more of a scorer.
He's more of a scorer?
Yeah, I don't think he really is a shooter. He's really more of a player. I feel like he was insurance for if they decided not to keep Jaylen Brown.
I think they're going to try to play him and Jaylen because Jaylen is 6'8", 6'7", 6'8".
They could definitely use his scoring, though. But Boston is a team, they do got talented players, and they got experienced players, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart, they've been to the playoffs. Even Kemba's been before, and Kemba's been in the league for a while. And, you got Brad Stevens, who just 2 years ago, people saying he was the best coach in the NBA, so it's not like he just all of a sudden became a terrible coach. Right. So Boston's a team, they could make it to the finals. They're not my pick. They're not my pick to go to the finals or even the conference finals. But if Boston was in the conference finals this year, I would be surprised.
Right situation, they can get there.
Yeah, they definitely could. So, I'm gonna rejudge Boston. And matter of fact, they're playing the Spurs right now. They're up 72-54 at the half.
That's another thing I wanted to bring up real quick. Usually teams struggle offensively at the beginning of the season. Nobody outside of Miami Heat scoring 80 points the other night. Nobody's playing defense right now.
This is time of the year, I guess. That's just how the game is now. They period is with the defense. But everybody's at their freshest right now, too. So,
yeah. But, usually coming into the season, a lot of teams start off rusty because they, offensive chemistry takes a little more time than defensive. But it just seems like everybody's just playing offense right now at this point. Everybody's ready to play offense.
Yeah, that's the new NBA, though. Everybody shooting more and more threes every year. And but the scoring has been crazy. Already a lot of 140-point games and things like that. But that's been the trend of the NBA the last couple of years.
Makes it more. That's how you get almost a $3 billion TV contract.
Right, because there's a lot of eyes on it. And I can admit, I mean, luckily, honestly, you got to be, for me, being the guy that just loves basketball, that kind of what keeps me watching. But when I hear certain people say things like, I remember Greg Popovich came out and said the game not really fun no more, or it's not basketball, and even KD has alluded to that too. You get it because it do seem like it's just, and I heard Kobe say him and Phil talk about it as accidental basketball. Nobody's playing with a purpose. Because it is just drive and throw the ball out there. I'm going to drive and hope he gets open. You're not really running plays. And people are just shooting threes, really. So the shooting threes, no defense, and the scoring is going crazy. That's why you got to respect the great defensive players that are still out there.
Trying to play
and that
defense.
is why a rookie can come in and we can say, oh, he's one of the top 10 defenders in the league. Because nobody's playing defense.
Right, especially just at his position.
Right. I mean, he's already one of the top 10 defenders, so.
Shout out to everybody that played defense, but shout out to the offenses too. And just before we wrap it up,
we got a couple games today.
You know, like I say, Boston, San Antonio's currently playing right now. Who else we got?
Right, then you got the Pelicans and the Hornets. The Rockets got the Bulls.
What is up with Zion? When is he?
Remember, he was supposed to be out 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 4 to 6 because it's his knee. Because he had meniscus.
You know, it seemed like. But we haven't heard anything though. It's like
they ruled him out, gave him a timeline, and they knew people was gonna talk, so they just shut him down. So no Zion talking nothing.
Yeah, usually you hear something about him.
Dallas and Memphis tonight. That'll probably be my league pass game of the night. Then you got Golden State, OKC. So 4 more games, 5 games in total tonight. And like I said before, Boston and the Spurs are on right now at 6:23 p.m. It's Saturday. Boston's up 72-54 at the half on the Spurs.
Ugh.
Spurs are 5-3. Jaylen Brown. Well, that's what I was gonna tell you because you said was he out? He actually has 20 points.
Shout out to
Jaylen
Brown.
Halftime.
Also, the metropolitan Atlanta native.
Man, he from Marietta.
Metro Atlanta.
Man, that ain't Atlanta nothing. He went to Wheeler, where Wheeler produced so much talent for the city. So I really love Wheeler, actually. I didn't go to Wheeler, but shout out to Wheeler and all the great players that have been there, from Josh Smith, Sharif, Jaylen Brown, had DeQuan Jones went there.
Way too many to name.
Yeah, so shout out to Wheeler. Wheeler is that's definitely a staple in Georgia. So shout out to them. I remember Wheeler was the team, and we've gotten to the point, I don't even think it's really a lot of teams like that anymore, but Wheeler was that team where it was like, bro, they got 8 players that's going D1 on their team. And they're all it's like 3 on the seniors, 2 juniors, and you got a sophomore, and then this one freshman that everybody's craving for. They had 8. They would have 8 division, and not 8. All right, he's going to Georgia Southern. He's going to Clayton State. No, he's going to Tech. He's going to North Carolina. This guy's going to Wake Forest. This guy's going to California. That guy's going to California. So Pac-10, ACC.
They're all going somewhere. Of course, you had your smaller schools, but for the most part,
and nothing wrong with the smaller schools. But when you just imagine the talent, when you got 8,
because like you say, this is from seniors all the way down to the freshmen.
Exactly right.
Like I remember it was one senior class. I think they only had like 4 D1 scholarships, but it was like. The next class had 6, though.
Exactly right. Yep. So shout out to Wheeler. They've been doing their thing in Georgia for a while.
I think we're gonna wrap it up right there. So for everybody that listen, leave a voice message. Maybe we, make some suggestions. Maybe we'll listen to y'all. We like radio DJs. We don't care for your suggestions. We're gonna talk about what we want to talk about.
Right. Leave a voice message. Let me know what you think about load management. Just what do you think about what I think about it? What's your opinion on it? What you think about what we think about it? The fact that it does tie into the money that funds the league for these guys to live the life that they live. Or do you just think, hey, man, you get paid to play basketball. You should be playing. We all know if you're hurt, you're hurt. But, hey, let us know what you think about load. Let us know what you think about load management.
All right. On that note, I'm Jon Dubya.
Fresh Six.
We are the Hoopers.
All right, players.